So today we are going to be talking about the cost of living here in Nashville, Tennessee, as it stands currently. This is the beginning of April in 2023. So if you're interested in talking about the cost of living and housing and food and utilities and all that kind of stuff, then this video is for you. So stay tuned. Hey guys, Tiffany Gudger here with Tiffany Gudger Real Estate right here in Nashville, Tennessee. If this is your first time to my channel, thank you for stopping by. We love to have you guys watch these videos and give your input. Here we drop videos every week about what it's like to live here, eat here, sleep here, work here, all the things here in Nashville in the Middle Tennessee areas. So if you are considering relocating here, while I love making these videos, I am a real estate agent, and that is my true passion. So if you're thinking about moving or relocating here to the Nashville and Middle Tennessee areas, make sure you give me a call, shoot me a text, an email, however you want to get a hold of me is fine. I work days, nights, weekends, kind of all the time, and I am the one that answers the phone. So if you have any questions about what it's like to move or live here, please reach out. That being said, let's jump right into today's topic, and that is cost of living of Nashville specifically. We'll talk a little bit about Tennessee, but mostly we're going to keep it to Nashville specific, and I'll kind of explain how that relates to some other areas. But the first thing I want to talk about is what I get asked about the most as far as cost of living, and how does it compare to the rest of the country. So I have my notes here so I don't forget all these numbers that I'm going to give you guys. But overall, the cost of living in Nashville is 9% higher than the rest of the state. That kind of comes as no surprise because Nashville is bigger, more populated. If you have more touristy cities and bigger cities, it's going to be more expensive than the rural areas of Tennessee. That being said, the cost of living here in Nashville versus the country, we are actually 2% lower than the national average for cost of living, which actually came as a surprise to me. I didn't really expect that, and that's based on kind of where we are and where we're headed here in 2023. So this video is basically going to be about breaking down that overall cost of living for Nashville. In the first place we're going to start is the most obvious, and that is housing. The biggest portion of why we're higher than maybe we should be in cost of living rankings is due to housing. Housing, both buying and renting, is 6% higher than the national average. And honestly, I kind of expected it to be higher than that. With everything that's going on here in Nashville, people moving here and all that stuff, I honestly thought we would be higher than 6% more in housing than the national average. That being said, Nashville is a whopping 32% higher than the rest of the state, which is crazy. And again, this is just housing, but that does not come as a surprise to me at all. I mean, the more an area is desired, which Nashville is highly desired right now for a living, the more expensive. It's supply and demand. The demand to move to Nashville is high, so supply is going to be lower and a little more expensive because not as many people are moving to Timbuktu, Tennessee. So, 30% higher than the rest of the state. But what that kind of tells us is you can live outside of Nashville, because this is, Nashville and Davidson County, Tennessee, that you can live outside of Nashville and in maybe another town or a suburb or, 30 minutes out or an hour out and be able to get housing much more affordable than in actual Nashville city limits in Metro Nashville. The average home price in Nashville, Tennessee right now is around $450,000. And that'll vary a little bit depending on what website you look at. And if you look at the average versus the median price. And I won't necessarily get into all of that because honestly, it's not that important to me. The average price, everybody wants to look into that and compare it, but Nashville is so different depending on, a couple blocks could make a difference in $100,000 on a property, or 20 minutes could get you the same house for $100,000 cheaper, with extra features or, stuff like that. There's just such a wide array of houses here that it's hard to really look at that and take too much stake in what that really means, because we've got things from 300 all the way to however many millions you want to spend. So I did just want to drop that piece of knowledge. It does show that means we still have a good housing economy, and that people are still wanting to come here. And it is a thing where if you come here and get something maybe below that average value, you're going to easily be able to build equity, especially if maybe you put some elbow grease into a place, or, throw in some new flooring and a fence and some backsplash or something. There's definitely room for growth here still in the Nashville housing market. So I think that's something to take note of, is it does mean the economy here is still doing pretty well. Now, the average rent here is about $1,800 for an apartment, which is relatively high in my opinion. And for a single family home, the average is anywhere from, $2,000 to $2,400, I would say, a month. So I feel like that's pretty high. But I know a lot of people, when they come here, they might not know what area they want to be in, and they got to get here quickly, so they're not able to figure that out before they move here. So, you might want to rent for a year before buying. So those numbers will probably be important to people that want to do that. Or if you want to buy investment properties here, that's probably a good number for you to know. And I will say, with rental rates as high as they are, a lot of clients that I have that think they want to come here and rent find out that they could buy a home and have the same mortgage. So sometimes it makes sense to buy instead of rent in this market. You guys have heard me say it 1,000 times. I know interest rates are higher right now than maybe they were last year, which was, if we ever see rates that low again, I'll be surprised. But if you're renting, your interest rate's 100%. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as utilities go for those apartments you're renting or the houses you're buying or whatever it may be, we are actually 11% lower than the national average. So just a spoiler alert, we're lower than the national average on everything except for housing. Based off of what I was finding online, for your utilities, you're going to pay anywhere from $175 to $200 on average, I would say. Of course, if you have a studio apartment or a 6,000 square foot house or something like that, it'll be different. But on average, it's maybe $175, and that includes things like your heating, cooling, electrical, water, trash here, and that kind of stuff. So not super expensive for all of that. Lower than national average, definitely something to keep in mind when you are trying to budget. Next thing I want to talk about is transportation. In other videos also, you might have heard me talk about Nashville doesn't have a great public transportation system. It kind of sucks, actually. We do have some buses, but they don't really go everywhere. We have a couple commuter trains, but they really only go to like one or two stops kind of far outside the city. We don't have any light rails or commuter trains or easy hop-on, hop-off buses that, kind of take you everywhere you need to go. So the transportation here, mostly what it involves is the cost of gas here, and, getting your tires rotated and balanced and all that kind of stuff. So our transportation is actually 9% lower than the national average. And again, we don't really have any costs as far as, you're not buying bus fare, or a lot of cities have like monthly payments you can take to just hop on and off like a light rail or something like that. We don't have anything like that here. And just so you're aware, the average gallon of gas today is $3.30. And a month ago, it was $3.09. So, it's been fluctuating throughout the country lately, but here, beginning of April, 2023, it is right around $3.30 a gallon for regular gas. Next is my favorite thing to talk about, and that is food. And according to what I read online, excuse me, we are 2% lower than the national average in food. I'm just going to be honest with you here. I don't know what that means because, I think it just depends on what you spend your money on food-wise because, is that taking into account someone that goes out to eat once a week but goes to a restaurant where it's $15 a person or goes out to a restaurant where it's $100 a person? Is this person shopping at, Walmart, or are they shopping at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's? I don't know. I don't think the dollar amount's super important. The internet, which it must be true, right, says that the average person, the average adult in Nashville spends $250 on food. I kind of call BS on that. You could. I 1000% do not. And of course, again, that depends on, do you buy all organic? Do you buy, do you go out to a fancy restaurant once a week? Basically, the moral of this story and the biggest point I want to make is the average cost of food here is right along that with the national average. You're just going to spend the amount that you want to spend. Do you want to save money and spend less on food? You can do that here. Do you want to go hard and eat fancy steak and seafood dinners a bunch and all that stuff? You can do it. If you want to go somewhere and have a quick, easy date night and spend $40, you can do that. If you want to go to a nice steakhouse and spend $80 a person, you can do that too. Nashville has so many restaurants and so many options. I just want you to know you can kind of do it all here, and the food, I guess, is average in price. I will say, I think higher quality and variety and options than other places, though. Next thing we are going to talk about is healthcare. And when it comes to healthcare, we are 9% lower than the national average, which is awesome because if you're not aware, Nashville and Tennessee as a whole has really great high-ranking hospitals and healthcare systems. And this is even based on how much it costs to go to the doctor, to the dentist, the chiropractor, how much prescription medicines are, how much over-the-counter stuff is, how much does it cost to get ibuprofen here in Nashville and Tennessee. Nashville actually has lots of great hospitals and healthcare systems. For example, Vanderbilt University Medical Center and Ascension St. Thomas are two of, they're the best ones in the state, if I'm not mistaken. And those hospitals rank really, really high nationally. Tennessee was actually recently listed as number 6 on top cities in the United States for healthcare. So that should really, really tell you something. We are lower than the national average in cost of healthcare, but we are above average on the quality of that healthcare, which I think is something that's super important and everybody should kind of take into consideration when moving somewhere. The final thing I want to talk about, and probably the least fun thing to talk about, is taxes. It is a tax season, so it only makes sense to talk about it. If you are unaware, have not seen any of my other videos, or have been living under a rock when it comes to looking into moving to Tennessee, Tennessee does not have a state income tax, which is pretty awesome. I will say we rank pretty high, though, on our sales tax. The state imposed sales tax is 7%, with each local sales tax being capped at a max of 2.75%. So 2.75%. So the max sales tax anywhere in the state is 9.75%. Here in Nashville, in the Middle Tennessee area, it tends to be right at 9.25% sales tax, which is relatively high. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It kind of all works out in the end. You spend more money on sales tax, but you don't have any state income tax. So that being said, that kind of ranks where we are as far as 2023 cost of living. It does fluctuate year to year. I do think we are in an upward trend of still seeing a great economy for Nashville. Our economy tends to not necessarily do what the national economy does because so many people move here that shifts in the nation and the economy might not be felt as significantly here because a lot of people are figuring out it is less expensive to live here than other big cities. We're getting a lot of big tech companies moving here. Lots of people from California or New York bringing companies here, or even Louisiana and different places. So I feel like Nashville is a pretty safe place to land if you're looking to move somewhere else. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Comment down below if you have any questions or if there was anything that surprised you. That's kind of my favorite thing to see, is what you guys are surprised by in these videos, if anything at all. And again, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email if you would like. If you're considering moving or relocating to the Nashville or Middle Tennessee area, I am here and available and would love to help. So until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.